Hi, I'm Richard Stiennon, and I'm here with Anton Chavakin. And between the two of us, we are introducing the various categories that we see in the security analytics and XDR space, and identifying the criteria that you would use to evaluate when you watch the demos in the video demo forum. And, Anton, in my mind, there's kind of two super categories of security. One of them is based on data. Give me all the data, and then I'm going to figure out what's going on and then take some sort of corrective action, incident response or patching a server, etc. And that's opposed to the other side of the industry, which is all the proactive, I'm going to set a policy and enforce a policy on the network or add an application, etc. So today we're talking about the security analytics side, which is all about what you do with that data and how you make it more effective for SOCs or other machines to actually use. So that's kind of my general take. What do you think, Anton?
Yeah, for years, I've been a subscriber to the broad view of analytics, namely that analytics is taking data that's relevant for security use cases and then trying to make sense of the data to achieve useful security outcomes. To me, it's more about data, security use cases, security outcomes. It's less about quote unquote security data. Because to me, what's security data? A regular log may be IT data, maybe security data, maybe just data. But to me, I focus about security outcomes. Does data analysis in these domains helps me with my mission to secure my organization? Yes, that's security analytics right there. So I'm an umbrella broad person here. That's the term I like.
I love that. So let's talk about the first category, which is SIEM. That will be combined with or standalone from one of the best use cases for logging, which is user and entity behavior analysis. Thanks for that, Gartner. And give me your take first on the SIEM world and the UEBA world and how it came about to where we are today.
So to me, while I was at Gartner, I've observed how the SIEM world actually merged with / absorbed the UEBA world. There are a couple of market guides written on the UBA and then UEBA, and then suddenly there's nothing to write about because the vendors who wanted to survive in this space ended up building SIEMs. But what we're discussing today is that this technology area, the SIEM UBA, is where I first have seen people actually apply non-trivial, deeper analytics methods to data, as I said, in furtherance of security outcomes. To me, your traditional SIEM from the 90s may be mostly rule-based, and to me, running rules and searches isn't exactly analytics, just like building a pie chart isn't really a visualization. But as years progressed, SIEM vendors and then UEBA vendors, standalone first and then part of SIEM, build more brain power, build more algorithms. Funny enough, right about 2000, maybe 14 or maybe even earlier, I've kind of made jokes about how SIEM vendors don't have any intelligence. They sort of just write rules. And frankly, a Netflix recommendation algorithm had more brain power than a typical SIEM. But times have changed, and more vendors in this domain build non-trivial machine learning logic. They dabble in various techniques that now belong to the field of AI. So to me, this is where many security professionals would encounter deeper analytics algorithms applied to security data.
So if you were evaluating a SIEM today, what are some of the key capabilities that you'd want to see in it?
Well, that's a big question that I can probably talk for 6 hours about easily. But to me, I still want to have the tool that collects the right data without breaking the bank and without applying too much burden on the operator. So I want my data collected in an easy format, in a format that doesn't make me work for hours and days to make it happen. And then I want my data to be retained, normalized, cleaned up. And when I say retained, today when the time scope of data analysis is often extends to months and years. So I want my data to be there for a year or more, and I don't want to pay for it. I really don't. I feel like people who are charging too much for data retention are kind of asking for too much. And of course, I want not just collection and retention, but I want the brain. I want the tool to tell me what I need to know in many cases. I want the tool to detect threats, of course. I want the tool to give me situational awareness of the organization. And of course, I want the tool to support the actions. I do not usually go as far as to say that the tool should act. I am not a big fan in many cases of automated remediation, and I've lived through many attempts of SIEM vendors trying to extend this loop all the way to action. To me, I take collection, retention, data cleaning and normalization, and then the conclusion making, the sense making, where they get the data and tell me what I need to know about the threats and about my environment. That's a bit of a high level description. There are lots of details behind many of them, but that's the chain I want.
Yeah, and then what about the presentation layer? So this, stack ranking of alerts, the chart that the SOC guys are watching, and addressing the red, yellow, green alerts. Is that a critical functionality?
Frankly, that's the only component I missed, and thank you for reminding me that there is the end of the chain. To me is not just that algorithms spouts out the results, but that there is a way to present them to a human in a way that allows the human to decide if they need to, or it allows some automation to happen, perhaps in other tools like orchestration tools. So to me, that layer of presenting the conclusion, presenting the findings, whether those are alerts, other signals, reports, dashboards, to me that layer is quite critical because ultimately humans use the SIEMs. Humans get the signals, humans get the reports, human gets the alerts. And again, orchestration and automation understanding, much of the SIEM signaling does go to an analyst, perhaps after filtering.
So that works for me, Anton. Well, now we've kind of laid out a list of fundamentals, and the viewers of the demos during the demo forum can have that in the back of their mind as they're comparing and contrasting the product offerings from these vendors.